If it's first, you ain't the breaks, no get you know let us put on more speed. Protect our kickers, our quarterback, our lead, our ball game. All obstacles, block, cut, sides, through the game, tap, this win it. First, you again, we're for the first minute. Carry everybody, keep it there for 6 minutes.
Rocky Top, you'll always be.
Just look around. You got the mountains. You got the most beautiful city in the whole entire country. The university is absolutely, looks like it's out of a storybook. It's just beautiful. People are incredibly genuine and extremely nice. It's just a place that obviously I'd want my kids to go to school. And it sells itself. You don't have to sell anything about this place. You just got to get them here. You know, the old field of dreams. Yeah. Build it and they will come. It's already built.
We've got to raise the bar, and we've got to continue to raise the bar. I don't think any of those young men, when they signed to come to Tennessee, they signed to say they wanted to come and be a part of a 7-6 program. They said they wanted to come and compete for championships, SEC championships, national championships. I know that's what I want. I know that's what Tennessee wants. I know that's what the expectation is. So we've got to continue to reassess everything that we're doing and make sure that we're continuing to move the needle in the right direction.
I've said it from when I got here. The expectation, the standard is to play elite defense here, not just good defense. This is the home of Eric Berry, Al Wilson, Reggie White. The standard is to be elite.
A one, two, three. We don't give a damn about the whole state of Alabama. The whole state of Alabama. The whole state of Alabama. We don't give a damn about the whole state of Alabama. We're from Tennessee. Rolling down a backwoods Tennessee byway, one arm on the wheel, holding my lover with the other, a sweet, soft southern thrill. Worked hard all week, got a little jingle on a Tennessee Saturday night. Couldn't feel better, I'm together with my Dixieland delight. Spend my dollar, park in a holler neath the mountain moonlight. Hold her up tight, make a little lovin', a little turtle dovin' on a Mason-Dixon night. It's my life. Oh, so right, my Dixieland delight. Whitetail buck deer munching on clover, red-tailed hawk sitting on a limb, chubby old groundhog, croaking bullfrog, free as a feeling in the wind.
Welcome to the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley.
And I'm Coach Jay.
I'm Dauber. What's up?
It's your boy X. What's good?
Man, we are right around the corner from the third Saturday in October, so much that I changed my hat. I changed my hat during the intro. That's the way I was feeling hearing Dixieland Delight. And I see everybody in the chat going nuts. They're like, yes, I love this song. I lost all the money. Every penny I'm going to make off of this live stream went out the window when I chose to play that song. So it's up to you guys in the chat to make it right. You know what to do. Drop those orange boys. We're going to have a good night. Man, oh man, we are right around the corner from a good one. We look, I have talked this thing to death. I have broke this thing down. I've looked at it from every angle going into Saturday. The numbers don't lie. The numbers tell me that Tennessee has every opportunity to go and win this football game on Saturday. Looking for the first time back-to-back wins over Alabama since 2004. Look, Alabama lost to Texas at home earlier this year. Prior to that, they have not lost in Bryant-Denny Stadium since 2019 against LSU. You want a heartbreaking stat? You guys want me to break your hearts 5 minutes into this thing? Tennessee has lost 27 straight road games versus AP top 15 teams. But again, on paper, Coach Jay, this thing favors Tennessee. All the numbers favor Tennessee. I don't care what Josh Pate says. I don't care what J.D. Bickel says. I'm going to call him out tomorrow. I'm sitting down one-on-one with J.D. Bickel tomorrow. I'm going to call him out right to his face. I don't care what he says. On paper, Coach, Tennessee should win this game. How you feeling? What are we, 3 days out?
Yeah, I feel good, but hey, look, you don't play the game on paper. You play the game on grass, right? You play the game Bryant-Denny Stadium. We need to go take the fight to them for 60 minutes on Saturday, and that's what's going to decide this game. But I'll tell you what the paper does tell you. It tells you we got the dogs to go out there and fight with them, right? We've got every weapon we need to win that game, and I think if you asked any Tennessee Volunteer fan, they'd probably tell you we're Joe Milton having a mediocre game away from probably winning that game. So we'll see what we can dig up come Saturday. I expect the defense to play fast, to play aggressive, to play downhill, to play good, sound, responsible football. And I think they'll do that come Saturday. I expect the offense line to get a good push, open up some holes, and I think Alabama is going to be challenged in a way that they haven't been challenged in the run game, much like we challenged A&M in a way they haven't been challenged in the run game. So Heupel is just really good at kind of scheming Tennessee into good situations, and I expect that to happen again come Saturday.
We're gonna break down this Tennessee-Alabama game. We're gonna get Dauber and X Factor. They were not on for the post-game show, so I want to get their thoughts on the A&M game. But Dauber, how you feeling, man? Going into the third Saturday in October. What does this rivalry mean to you? Man, what does it mean to you personally? I know everybody has their team they hate, but when you hear Tennessee, Alabama, third Saturday in October, what does that mean to you?
It's big time. I mean, I've got the panoramic up here. Third Saturday in October. Growing up, I think if you're in the age demographic that you and I are in, Boogie, I think there's Georgia, there's Florida, but there's something about Alabama, and most of the people that are a little bit younger than us, they don't realize that this used to be a series that Tennessee had a big run in. It's been a series of runs. And, we used to give it to Alabama. And there was a period where we owned Alabama.
Yep. Very streaky rivalry. Very streaky.
It is. But, Coach Dave said it, man. You put it on paper. And that's the thing. That's a big difference. This team now has the horses to run with the likes of, Alabama, Georgia, and those teams. The key is, can we get consistency? Can we get all 22 players plus special teams playing at their peak for 60 minutes? It's yet to be seen. 2003, I think Casey Clausen, double overtime victory was the last time we went down there and came away with a W. So it's a daunting task, but Alabama's not the same Alabama that we've seen for the last 10, 15 years. Alabama is very beatable. Alabama has questions and flaws. Can they get off the field without having penalties? What kind of quarterback play are they going to get? Again, there's a lot of similarities. We talked about this last week before the A&M game. On paper, a lot of similarities. And I think you're seeing the same thing this week. I'm excited for it, though, man. I love third Saturday in October. The crisp fall air starting to hit. You know, it's a great time of year. Hopefully we'll be feeling same way we felt last year. Come 7:30, 8 o'clock on Saturday.
Man, I wanted to play the opening to the hype video that I made, but I'm pretty sure it would get struck down immediately and we would not be live anymore. If you've not watched it, just go watch that hype video because the first 2.5 minutes is all about Tennessee, Alabama. X, we're a couple of days away, buddy. How are you feeling? Do you like Tennessee's odds? Don't bury the lead. We're gonna into our predictions at the end of this thing. But how you feeling, man?
Oh no, man. I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I know JP's not here. I'm not gonna bring total JP vibes, man. But I'm about 50% like how I'm feeling right now. To be honest, I really don't know how to feel because going based off, against A&M, yes, it was a good win for us, but there's question marks, man. And it's like, this team is different this year. Our identity for this team now is definitely our defense. Our defense is definitely going to help us carry us victories. But it's our offense, man. I have some question marks. Actually, not even question marks. I demand greatness from our offense because, like I said, like Dauber said, the horses are there, man. The talent is there. Just got to get all the pieces together to just make it fit. And then Mr. Milton, because Dauber was talking about like Schuler, and then all the other great quarterbacks that played in the past. Peyton Manning. Look, even your brother last season. Hendon Hooker, your roommate. Look, they solidified their legacy when it comes against like Alabama. So, Mr. Milton, we're gonna need you to see what you're gonna do with this game coming up.
We're going to talk about quarterback play. We're going to break down this game. We're going to talk about Texas A&M. We're going to talk about it all. But I want to see who the early arrivals were. William Dyer was here at 5:30. He says, ran out of content. How many videos do you want me to make, William? I can only do so much. I got morning streams, evening streams. All I do is sit in front of this computer and yell into this microphone. I'll try to do better. But he's been listening to Rocky Top on repeat. Says LFG, biggest game of the year, Buck family. Coach Rice is here, dropping those custom Talkin VAWLS emojis. I was going to get Coach on, man. You guys know the deal around here. I try to save Coach J for Friday morning. JP was last minute, so I sent a message to Coach Rice. He had a player go down with an injury. He said, Brew McCoy, like injury. I said, go to the hospital, take care of that kid.
Speedy recovery, though.
Yeah, don't worry about what we're doing here on the Talkin VAWLS Network. Go take care of that kid. That's what he's doing. Coach Rice will be on the post-game show on Saturday, so don't you worry. We'll get his opinions. But, man, sometimes things work out for the best because I sent Coach Jay the bat signal. He's sending me gifts. I sent up the bat signal to Ben McKee. He's going to be in the house on Friday morning making things right. So make sure you guys tune in for that. William Dyer says, play the dang clip. Who else we got? Papa J was here bright and early saying Buck Fama. Man, y'all had a full-blown conversation. They're talking for an hour. Let me go on down. Matt Dumit is here. What's up, Matt? Ben Gaylor in the house. Joe Balls is here. Bob's in the house. White Lightning is in the house. What's up, brother? Good to see you in the chat. Ryan is here. Joey Carroll is here. Got a bunch of super chats already. Let's run them down here. Chase Tidwell for $2 says GBO. Appreciate that, brother. Pit Boss for 10 says Dorothy, I got my Vols by 50 shirt today. 2 weeks early to boot. Real nice shirt, Boogie. GBO. You guys can go pick one of those up. Bonfire.com/store/TalkinVAWLS. The link is also in the description below. Coach Rice for $10. Appreciate that, bro. You didn't have to drop a super chat, Coach. You didn't have to drop a super chat, but he says, hold it down tonight. Vol Bros may be in the chat later, but at the ER checking on a player. Broke his ankle today at practice. Looked like bruise. Prayers for him. He's heartbroken. You be there for that kid. That's your job, right? I love Rodney Garner's sit-down interview, the Ball Club Confidential, and he's like, I take great pride in mentoring young men. Like being a coach at the college level. They were asking about the NFL. He's like, coaching at the college level is different. Like you're helping mentor young men. You're doing that in high school too. Coach, a certain person in the chat likes to say, well, you're just a dumb high school coach. What you're doing impacts kids for a lifetime, man. You know what I mean? Like I know you know that, and I know you understand that, but I want to say that from the outside. Like you guys that coach high school ball, college ball, whatever it is, you're changing lives. Like so many of my buddies, like I've talked about my uncle on here before. Like Dauber knows my uncle. He's hell on earth, man. He is aggressive.
Old school.
Yes, he is Bobby Knott made over. And one of mine and Dauber's best friends played basketball for him, and it's his favorite coach of all time. You guys will make an impact on people forever. You know that. Coach Rice knows that. I just want to reiterate that. Trey for $5 says, Dorfy, Buck Fama, Joe has to be mobile Saturday and hit a couple of passes to Squirrel, Nimrod, and Keaton. Then we win with our defense and running back play. Matt Morris for $5. Call me crazy, but I'm not all that concerned. Yeah, I'm calling you crazy. Not all that concerned about this one. This series has been full of streaks, and Coach Josh Heupel and the boys are starting their own. I hope so. Alex becomes a member of the channel. Hey, I appreciate that, man. Hit that join button down below. If you like the videos, you like the live streams, you like the community aspect. I love the fact that I create a post-game show, and you guys hang out for 4 hours watching the game together in the chat. That's a beautiful thing. That's what a community is all about. Whatever it is that you like about this channel, hit the join button down below. You can join for $1. You get custom Talkin VAWLS emojis. Let me see those cigar emojis. I want to see cigar emojis, and I want to see crying Nick Saban emojis all night long. But we appreciate the support. Alex, thank you for jumping in the boat. Ryan Barton for $5. First off, go Vols. Boogie, since you're wearing the AEW, want to throw a tribute to the icon Sting, set to announce his retirement tonight. I saw he was going to address the audience, but didn't know that that's what it was going to be. Sting's a legend, man. Sting's a legend. I bought this shirt strictly because Zack Sabre Jr., Daniel Bryan, Bryan Danielson, whatever you want to call him, one of the greatest matches of all time. So I wanted to rep the Wrestle Dream shirt. The Lazy Llamas for 20. That's an Orange Boy. Let's keep those Orange Boys rolling because I love this clip and I want to play this clip all night long. So thank you, Lazy Llamas, for making it orange. Here it is.
Rocky Top, you'll always be.
Says Dixieland Dorfy, play the clip GBO. I appreciate that, Lazy Llamas. You're covering all the money that I lost from that intro. Very generous super chat, brother. Appreciate that. Casey Edwards for 10. I know it's highly unlikely, but what if Milton comes to Alabama on Saturday and completely balls out? What if he finds his stride and the receivers are balling out with him? What's going to happen? Tennessee's going to beat Alabama, and we're going to roll into Kentucky week, and we're going to say, which Joe Milton do we get? That's I mean, that's the reality. I hope he does, Casey. I hope he balls out. I would love nothing more. Casey comes back with another 5 and says if Joe and the receivers could connect like they are supposed to, an air raid could work because Bama is preparing for a rush defense. It would be great. I don't know if I'm ready to put this game on Joe Milton's shoulders at this point. I'm just not, man. And we were kind of talking in the backstage area about other people, other content creators putting out stuff about Joe Milton. I don't know if people are defending him or think that Joe's played great. We're going to talk about Joe Milton. Don't you worry. What I want to do is get Dauber's thoughts and X's thoughts on Texas A&M. So, Dauber, Tennessee beats Texas A&M 20-13. Ugly victory. Joe Milton threw for 100 yards. 100 yards of passing offense. And Tennessee won. If I had laid out the box score before the game, you'd have said there's no way Tennessee's winning this game. But what are your takeaways coming out of the win over Texas A&M?
So, listen, I was at a barbecue and bourbon fundraiser for a youth development center, and somehow we found a TV and we turned it on. Some way. So we were sitting there watching the game, and it was ugly. The end of the day, got the W. Happy to see D. Williams and making a mark on special teams. I've said it. That's a phase of the game that can either win you some ball games or lose you some ball games. It covers up some deficiencies. A couple of years ago, we had deficiencies on the defensive side of the ball, and special teams really helped us along the way. I think this year, the offense is not clicking like it has under Josh Heupel. And I think special teams is a way where you can get a boost. You can get a shot in the arm, and, it can make a difference in a ball game where you don't have your best stuff. Offensive line played pretty well. The running backs ran hard. The defense, man. I can't say enough about this defense. X said it, top of the show there. I'm going with X here. I'm agreeing, man. The defense, I think, is the calling card of this team now. The way they're playing, we've got the athletes on that side of the ball, but like I said, consistency. They are consistently bringing it. They're consistently making the plays, and aside from a couple of, had a guy fall down, a couple guys not turning around, turning their heads on the balls, getting beat on a couple of chunk plays. Aside from that, defensively, this team's played stout. And I look for that to continue. And, I think Saturday, that's going to be a difference maker in this game. If you can get to Milroe, and I think Alabama they're going to try to stack the box. They're going to try to shut down this run game from Tennessee and make Joe throw the ball. I think we do the same thing. I think we try to, put it on Milroe. Can he do like he, have a game that like he had against Texas A&M where he was 21 of 33, throwing it for over 300 yards, 3 touchdowns? I don't know that he can, because he's not shown that. We talk about body of work all the time. And that's, when we get into talking about Joe here in a little bit, that's body of work. I mean, it is what it is. And I think Boogie said it. Joe is Joe, and that's what we're going to get. Is it going to be the Joe that is a little bit more consistent and gives you a little bit of production, or is it the one that, makes you scratch your head and wonder? So I did say this Saturday watching the A&M game. On a 4th and 2, he steps out of bounds. And on a 3rd and 7, he tries to truck a guy 5 yards short of the stick. I mean, it's those kind of things that frustrate me. So, and I think that was the point where I sent you a text, Boogie, and I was just like, man, I can't take it anymore. I've defended and said this guy has such a ceiling, such ability, but it makes you so like agonizing and like, what are we doing? Because we are, consistent quarterback play away from something pretty special.
Let me tell you something. That's the ongoing conversation, and people are tired of it. People are sick of it. At the same time, they can't get enough of it. Don't bury the lead. We're going to talk about Joe Milton and Nico. Don't worry. We're going to get into it. X, what were your thoughts coming out of the Texas A&M game?
I say, well, since Dauber shared his location where he was at last weekend, I guess I'll share mine. I was at my best friend's wedding. I was his best man.
I would have told him no, X. I would have told him no.
Well, I say,
I'm dead serious.
Who gets married in the fall?
I would have told the man no.
Listen, look.
I'm not your best friend anymore.
Look, well, Jeff,
wait,
listen.
His name's Jeff?
Yes.
His name's Jeff? Is Jeff watching?
He should be.
Is Jeff a
Jeff?
Jeff,
what are you doing with your life, bro? Because let me tell you something. Every single year, your anniversary is going to fall in October. And it may be during the Alabama game. It could be during a big-time Georgia game. You have no idea. You have ruined your life from now until death do us part. So I hope it was worth it. I hope it was worth it. And X is a better man than me because I would not have been there beside you. If my best friend, Adam, if you're watching, he doesn't know if you play football with a bat or with a ball. He has no idea. If Adam was watching, would not have been by your side. X, go ahead. You're a better man than me. I apologize.
You're good. I say, look, Jeff, Abby, love you both. Congratulations to you both. But here's to make up for it, though. They both came out, wearing their overalls. Everybody came out wearing Tennessee gear. So we all pull out our cell phones, watching the game. And it's actually crazy because he actually came up to, my table and he told me, he said, X, he said, I defended Joe. It goes back to kind of piggyback off what Dauber said earlier, but Joe, I know we'll get into Joe later on, but he was like, X, I've seen enough. He's like, look, Joe Milton, throwing, those 2 interceptions. He said, X, I can't no more. Like, it's just the little things that Joe does that it's so aggravating, and it's just a head scratcher. It just doesn't make sense. But overall with the game, like I said, going into last week's game, our defense carried us, and I knew that, like I said, everybody's talking about A&M's, front seven. Talking about, their front seven's this, their front seven's that. Well, we have a pretty good defensive team too. So it came really, really heavy down to defensive play, which I feel like that it's going to come down to this game as well with Alabama. And I don't know. Like I said, I feel like that with our offense, that we're able to run the ball, we're definitely going to run the ball against Alabama. But if we cannot, and I'm kind of piggybacking off from what JD McKell said, because I kind of took a
How
little
dare
sneak
you?
peek of
Do you
his
want me to
video
yell
earlier.
at you before I yell at him?
No,
on,
no. But like he said, in his video, he said, listen, he said, what if Tennessee cannot run the ball? And you have to force Joe to throw the ball. I just think that if just playing devil's advocate, if we cannot move the ball with the run game, it's going to come down to who's going to be the better man, Milroe or Joe.
But last Wednesday, you sat right there in that chair.
Tell him, Jobber. Tell him.
And said
So did
Tennessee
everybody
would
else.
struggle to run the ball
Other
against
than
Texas
Boogie.
A&M.
Tell him. Everybody other than Boogie. Tell him. Everybody.
I said that was key. I said, here's
Tell him.
last
Everybody but
week.
Boogie said it last week. Tell him, Jobber.
Big
Everybody
running
but
game.
Boogie said
Big
it.
running
Tell
game.
him. Everybody but Boogie said it.
So, I mean,
But
keep down.
no, listen. Look,
Here's my Coach Prime. Where you at?
We coming. We're off the rails.
Look,
I'm
we
here for
coming,
it.
and then look what happened with Stanford.
Yeah, we still waiting for Coach Prime.
But anyway, but no, I mean, but seriously though, like I really do believe we are going to run. You know what I'm saying? Run into Alabama. I feel like our run game is going to be established pretty well. But like I said though, it's just if we cannot, and just Alabama, because you got to think, guys, it's in Tuscaloosa. Them guys, listen, the whole fan base, they're going to be licking their chops, waiting for us to hit that field. So again, and of course, the history is kind of repeating itself. Listen, look, we couldn't win at Georgia. We couldn't win at South Carolina. And then most importantly, the win that I wanted was at Florida. So to me, that kind of gives me a little better ball syndrome to where I'm just like, man, listen, our run game and our defense is going to be stout. But the question that reminds in the back of my head is like, okay, Joe, it's going to come down to you, brother. This is your legacy game. This game is in order for this fan base to have your back 110,000%, you're going to have to deliver on this game big time.
But good Lord have mercy. He's a 6-year senior, and we're halfway through his last year.
Yeah.
How many times are we going to say this? We're going to talk about quarterback play. I don't want to bury the lead. Coach, I know you're like me. I know you watched the game 17 times after Saturday. Any final thoughts? Did anything change? Anything change from what you said post-game show to now, how you feel about that win over Texas A&M?
Has anything changed? I mean, I think James Pierce played a better game than I initially thought. He was the lead against the pass game as well in the rush. He was great against the screen. He was beautiful when he dropped back into coverage. I initially said, and I don't know, how much of this is on Heupel and Halsey, right? You kind of got to be in the inner circle to know, but I was very critical of Hype, even though I said, hey, everyone as a coach kind of can have a poor kind of game management type game. It happens to everyone. Me, Heupel, Saban, everyone. And I was kind of critical of them. But one thing I will say is Heupel, Halsey, the offense in general, did a great job of scheming Texas A&M. They had beautiful zone beaters on. They had beautiful run man beaters on. They called a beautifully perfect game from an offensive standpoint. And I know that's hard to accept because the game management side was so ugly, but try to separate the two in your mind if you can, because they are different. And that's kind of the correction I have to make.
Well, you've also got the execution factor in it.
Yeah.
How many? They're again plagued by drops.
Right. It was plagued by a lot of things, but just as far as having the right play call in against the right formations and the right coverages was there all day on Saturday. And whether you want to call it Milton or the receivers or a combination of both, two things can be true, as it was the right plays were being called on the sideline and on the field on Saturday. And I think it kind of bears saying.
You're being logical.
I'm sorry.
That's not fair.
Yeah, but I say, Coach, you gotta kind of dumb it down for the three of us, Coach.
Yeah. No,
I think Coach J comes in here and makes the whole like football IQ of the show just like
Yeah,
you know,
no, just it's a complex game, and I think the more everyone kind of tries to look at it as such, and not just be like, Joe sucks, the receivers suck, and kind of look at it, and hey, look, I've been probably as critical as Joe as anyone, and I do think he's been bad, but I do think you kind of need to look at the whole picture always, and really try to understand what's going on, because if you don't know what's wrong, you can't fix something. So you really got to kind of get your mind and your hands around what's wrong.
I think similar to Kamal Hadden. It's singular plays that stick out that are defining him.
Oh my God, I disagree so much.
Not
So
overall, but Joe has played well enough for this team to be 5-1. At the end of the day,
I disagree.
Go
God,
ahead.
I'm going to disagree.
How can you disagree?
Let Dauber go. Let
They
Dauber finish what you're saying, Dauber.
They are 5-1. He has led this team to be 5-1.
Yeah.
Has he?
Wait, he's quarterback. They've scored enough points to win 5 games.
Did he lead them to win 5 games?
I'm not saying he.
That's what you said. You said he led them to 5 wins.
And as the quarterback, you get all the praise when you're winning. You get all the criticism for throwing a pick or stepping out of bounds or all these things. And is it fair? I don't know that it necessarily is, because at the end of the day, you win and lose as a team.
Oh yeah, of course you do. Of course you do. Yeah, and I've said that all week long. When I'm talking about Joe Milton, I'm talking about this game, I'm talking about everything. Every video I've made, you're 5-1. You don't bench your starting quarterback when you're 5-1.
No.
On the flip side of that, the first thing Coach Jay said to me when he popped in the post-game show after Texas A&M, we won in spite of Joe. And I said, that is the exact wording that is in my notes. Tennessee won in spite of Joe Milton. He is not leading this team to anything. He is going out there and playing football at a very low level. And you guys, everybody in this chat that wants to yell at me, everybody in the comments that wants to yell at me, I think I've taken more heat over Joe Milton and being a guy that supported Joe and thought Joe was going to be the guy. We're halfway through his 6th-year senior season. Joe is not it. He's not, period. Hands down, no questions asked. Does he figure it out? Could he go out, Dauber, on Saturday and throw for 350 and 4 touchdowns?
Absolutely.
1,000%. 1,000%. And what we were laughing about it before we went live. What would you say if he did that? If he threw for 350 and 4 touchdowns, you would go into the Kentucky game saying what?
Exactly. And Raines Cook throws it out here. I think we're both right in a roundabout way. It is what it is. Joe is what Joe is. Yes, could he have played better in those 5 wins? Yes. Mm-hmm. But he did enough. And at the end of the day, if you do enough and it adds up
Brody's
to more.
Back. Shout out Brody, he's back. Sorry, Dauber. Sorry.
No, I mean I don't know what you can do. And I don't not think that Nico's ready, because I think Nico is a dude, and we've had some people give us some inside baseball knowledge on this dude, and I'm so excited to see the kid play. Mm-hmm. But how can you take your starter out that's led you to 5-1?
You can't bench him, but you can say he sucks. You can say he's playing terrible football. Let me read some numbers to you, Dauber. You weren't on the post-game show, and I read these numbers. Or maybe it was Monday morning. I don't remember. If I read you these numbers, and I said, all right, this is going to be Tennessee's starting quarterback, is this what you want? 12th in the SEC in passing yards. 10th in the SEC in completion percentage. 14th in the SEC in passing yards per attempt. 11th in the SEC in quarterback rating. He is tied for 3rd in one category. Do you want to guess what that is, Dauber?
Picks?
Interceptions. Is that acceptable to be. And look, I look, I think we're not really arguing. We're just talking it out. I agree with you. You cannot bench him, but he's not playing good. He's not playing good.
So I can't pull a starting pitcher if my team's batting 500.
Can you? Exactly.
I think I can. That's my point, I guess.
Okay, look. Let me. Whoa. I want to come back to it. This is such a this is what I want to talk about tonight. It's not apples and oranges. Let me hit some super chats. Let me hit some super chats because Pancakes and Bacon brought up a great point on their show today. I watched their show sitting here prepping. We're going to come back to it, but I want to get their voice in the chat. Chad becomes a member of the channel. Shout out Chad, man. You guys pay the bills around here. You want to be a part of the family, hit the join button down below. It's $1 a month. Whether you like this chaos where we yell and scream at each other, and I'm here for it. I love when we disagree, but we're really not disagreeing. We kind of agree from different angles. But shout out Chad. You want to be a part of it, hit that join button. We would greatly appreciate the support. Andrew for 5 says, do y'all think we see Dion offense by the end of the season? Made a comment that when the chance comes, he is ready for his opportunity. I don't think so. I think you got to figure out the entire position. You're not going to come in with a special D. Williams package because you got to go out for the whole series. We've talked that to death. Casey comes back with another $10. I would not rest this game on Joe by any means, but if he can just do it enough to throw the Bama defense off for maybe 3 drives, we win this game. This is a big what-if game, in my opinion. You see the narrative here? Well, if Joe just doesn't play like absolute dog crap, we can win this game. That's a problem. That is a huge problem. Chad drops a $5 super chat. I'm 50 years old. Bama has my full hatred. I remember watching Tony Robinson beat them when I was a kid. That's when I became a Tennessee fan. It's always the old school, the OGs, Chad, that really, really hate Alabama. Appreciate that super chat. Cody for 10. Dorothy, plus good to see Dauber and Coach Jay. I guess me and X can kick rocks. I can kick us off the show if you want. Said, I'd love to see you break down some Eric Berry highlights sometime. Glad he got honored this past weekend. GBO, don't give a damn about the whole state of Alabama. I love the quote from Heupel that I played at the beginning where he's like, man, we're going to play elite defense. This is the home of Eric Berry, Al Wilson, Reggie White. Love that quote.
Yep.
Wade Rouse for 2. Am here, better late than never. Go Vols. Good to see you in the chat. Wade, just got the Facebook memory. Like a year ago, almost to the date that Wade got the Talkin VAWLS tattoo on his body. Nate says, here's my cover charge boogie. Look, guys, my side of Pruitt's come from Alabama. I still don't give a damn about the whole state of Alabama. Oh, and Joe, thumbs down. Daniel for 5. We know Hype plays games with the injury report. Has he done that when he said he's not redshirting Nico at the end? If he is under 4 games, why not? If Nico doesn't play in 4 games, he's going to get a red shirt. But it won't matter.
It won't matter.
Yeah, it won't matter.
It is not going to matter in any way, shape, or form. They have no plans to redshirt Nico. Let's jump back into this Joe Milton, Nico Iamaleava conversation. And again, I don't expect Nico to all of a sudden come into the game. Where were we? What did you say?
Where I was. I was going to throw out. I was going to say, take away the Virginia Austin P UTSA games, and look at conference games. You're 2-1, and those numbers that you read off, you're lucky to be 2-1 in conference play with those numbers. So this is going to be me, crossing the aisle and flipping to your side.
Because I remember where I was at, so good.
And it like you said, Coach Jay said post game Saturday. You're 2-1 in the conference, probably. A little bit in spite of your quarterback play. And I think it does have a lot to do with the progression of this Tim Banks defense and, the depth that we're adding. What I talked about at the beginning of this season, what I thought was going to be a strength was this defensive line and the ability for them to get home, allow your linebackers to play, linebacker, and then drop in coverage and help the secondary, because I still thought the secondary was going to be a bit of a problem. But what we've also seen is I think this team, even defensively, plays best when they're balls to the wall and gas pedal down and dialing up blitzes and coming at you and bringing the heat. So, man, at the end of the day, and I've said it on here before, I don't care who plays quarterback. You know, I'm not carrying Joe's jockstrap. I'm not, pumping
you're not?
Nico. No, I don't care. I just want the Big Orange to come away with the W. So
we're all in agreement with that, but at the end of the day, too, if somebody plays like a turd, I mean, I don't remember what was it, the Florida game?
The Florida game.
The Florida game
called everybody a turd. If you play like a turd, I'm going to call it a turd. Dauber, I hate you because you got me back on track, and then you start talking about defense. When I let you guys drive the show, this is what happens. I'm like, let me drive the show because now I'm all over the place. Let me hit these super chats because you had me back on track, and then you talked about the next talking point, and I don't even know where we're going next, but I'm going to get us back on track. Aiden Stills for $5 says this conversation is fantastic. Look, this is the whole point of the channel. You're not getting this anywhere else. You're not getting people agreeing but also disagreeing and yelling at each other and having a good time. And at the end of the day, look, we're all Vol fans. We're going to go to sleep happy. That's what you get on the Talkin Vols Network. Authenticity. Is that a word? Authenticity.
You nailed it.
Yeah, killed it. I know what I'm talking. Authenticity right here on the Talkin Vols Network. Hey, man, pull up a beer. Pull up a chair, crack open a beer, and let's talk Tennessee football. Rolly season for 5. This should be the biggest game for every Vol fan between history and the last decade and a half. We should all hate Alabama more than any other team. Cody Copeland for 5. Didn't mean to leave Boogie and X out. Just haven't seen Dauber in a hot minute, and Coach Jay does the breakdowns. Love this whole Vol family. What I read from that is that Dauber's not doing any work, and Coach Jay only works in the offseason. Me and X always on here driving the show is what I read from that. Maybe I'm wrong. Rolly Season says a polished turd is still a turd. Timmy Williams for 5. Peerless Price said Tennessee problems come from the wide receivers. A wide receiver would say that. Like, come on, let's call a spade a spade. Joe isn't perfect, but the wide receivers are really bad compared to last year. Look, sweet Moses, I cannot focus because of all the different narratives. The wide receivers suck too, but I'm not going to sit here and say Joe played well just because the wide receivers suck. Like, Joe is playing like a turd. I can't think of any other word thanks to Coach. He's playing like a turd. We're going to get back to it. Hold tight. Riggs for 5. We will not see Nico unless Joe gets injured. Spot on. I agree with that. Joe only has to manage games. He doesn't have to be hindered with this run game and defense. I agree, but I think he's struggling to manage games at this point. Dave Morrison for 5. I was just waiting for the cat's claws to come out with the apples and oranges comment. LOL. I love a good spirited conversation with y'all. Hey, we're all family here, man. No, yeah. I don't think anybody here is mad. Like, I'm having the time of my life. I love it.
And I'll throw this at you before you hit these next couple of super chats. How is he not managing games when you're 5-1? That's my
because
point.
You're winning in spite of him.
But still, you're
Let
winning.
me tell you this. You go down to Tuscaloosa and you fail to convert that little free play you got on third and 5, 3rd and 6, whatever it was, and you run out of bounds. You go 4th and 2 and you roll out of the pocket and you screw around and don't convert
That's hot garbage.
You're going to lose. Yeah, you're going to lose to Alabama. That's the thing. Like, you're winning in spite of Joe. That's my point.
You very well would have lost Saturday against Texas A&M had special teams not bailed you out.
Right. So let's not say Joe's managing games when special teams and defense in the run game are bailing him out.
But he's doing enough to keep the offense in it so the
Is he doing enough? 100 passing yards? Is that enough?
But at the end of the day, they had more points.
Right, because of special teams, because of defense, because of the running attack. Not because of Joe, it was in spite of Joe. That's the point. It was in spite. You didn't manage anything. That's like saying you managed the postgame show when you weren't even here. Like, you weren't even here. You didn't manage anything. We did the postgame show in spite of what you were doing.
So D. Williams scored his touchdown in spite of Joe.
Yes.
Yes. We literally 5 minutes ago said you win as a team and you lose as a team.
You do win as a team, and that's all BS. No, sometimes your quarterback sucks. Sometimes your power forward sucks. Your center sucks. But guess what? You got Michael Jordan out there at shooting guard, and he dropped 60 on somebody. You didn't win as a team. You freaking Scottie Pippen out here saying, I'm just as good as Jordan. We all know that's a lie. That's a lie. You won because you played with Jordan. Jordan won in spite of you, right?
And
Coach just wanted to bring peace to the conversation.
Joe,
bring some
Joe had pains me to say it, and it doesn't pain me to say it. I'm happy to say it. He had moments where he did, like we brought it up earlier, and I've seen people bring it up, like, oh, there was, plays where he trucked people and then got super emotional about it. And people were talking about, like, yeah, I want him to do all the time. But then the next thing he did immediately after was throw the double coverage pick, right?
Yeah.
The second he kind of got out of himself. And I don't know if it's my BVS or what it is, but what makes me extremely nervous is Joe's been getting away with this stuff at home, right?
Yes.
He's been
Yes.
getting away with this
Yes.
stuff at home. On the road, it's not going to be so forgiving. It's not going to be so nice.
Hostile crowd,
It's gonna be
hostile refs.
extremely hostile. Mays will help that.
Yeah,
Mays will
he
help
will.
bring some stability to that, and I'm hoping that settles Joe down a bit, because if he is erratic as he was in the Florida game, guys, we're going to get embarrassed on Saturday.
If we go down to Tuscaloosa like we did in Florida, you're right, Coach. Like I said, this team does not need to go down to Tuscaloosa thinking, well, it's Bama. It is what it is. Like, no. Like, you beat them last season. Yes, you had more offensive power last season than you do this season. But you still have the players. Like, you know what I'm saying? Ramel Keaton. You added, a Dante. And then, of course, you got Squirrel. And I'm sorry, but the wide receivers need to step up. We were talking about it, before. But, look, Mr. Keaton, I'm going to need you to step up, sir. It is your time. How can you go from making a game-changing diving catch, like I said, at that Florida game last season, to missing a beautiful, beautiful throw from Joe? It could have been a touchdown catch, but you dropped it. Sir, I'm going to need you to step up. Mr. Thornton, listen, I'm going to need you to step up as well. Knock, knock. But I said, because what you did up in Oregon, why are we not seeing that down here? Why? I mean, what is the issue here? Listen, you made all those, one-headed catches and all that stuff up in Oregon. Sir, you need to do that for us. But just overall, it's just, like I said, I know we're talking about Joe and all that, but even just switching over to the wide receivers, man, they got to step up. But listen, look, even like the two key players I mentioned, Ramel Keaton, Squirrel White, they were playing in that game. So honestly, it should feel really important to these guys to say, like, hey, I got to be on my A game, because listen, it's Bama. I know they're coming for blood, so we definitely got to step it up. So really, it's not all on Joe either. We have to kind of look at where it is too as the wide receivers. They got to step up for me in this game coming up.
I got to address this comment. Michael Cooper says, can't say we won in spite of Joe. The difference in the game was 7, and he tossed a touchdown to Warren. Really? That's where we're going? The difference in the game was the D. Williams house call. That was the difference in the game. You could not get anything going on offense. You had Jackson Ross pin him inside the 1. You played good defense, and D. Williams housed 1. We didn't win the game because of Joe Milton. Stop that. Michael, you know better. You know better than to leave that comment. You know better.
Joe had the bare minimum 4 or 5 chances to put that game away.
Yes.
After the Gabe Judy Lolly pick that brought us down to, the 6?
Well,
the 7-yard line.
He threw a pick in the red zone.
The 4th and 2, the pick in the red zone. That's 3 off the top of my head. I believe there was 5 when I counted.
It's all in my notes. I
don't have my notes in front of me.
They were 3 of 5 in the red zone.
Okay.
First quarter, you had the 4th and 2 inside the 20. You roll Milton out. He can't connect. Second quarter, not in the red zone, but you end up missing a 51-yard field goal. Third quarter, you're inside the Texas A&M 30. Milton takes a sack. Start of the fourth quarter is when he throws the pick. They were 3 of 5, and you can't do that against Alabama and win. That's the point. So, oh, man, I love everybody that listens to this channel, but that's a lazy comment to say that, oh, well, Joe threw a touchdown. We won by 7. No, that's not the narrative. Let me hit the super chats. We still have more quarterback stuff to talk about. We have more quarterback drama to talk about, and then we're going to get into Alabama. We're going to make our predictions. Don't you guys worry. Appreciate the super chats. You guys being very generous. Played a little Dixieland Delight tonight. That cost us all of our ad revenue, so I'm counting on you guys. Appreciate the super chats. Also, hit the thumbs up. If you can't give a super chat, that's cool. Hit the thumbs up. Hit the share button. Put this thing out on Twitter, Facebook. Let somebody know about Talkin VAWLS. We'll be live Friday morning, 9:30 a.m. Myself, Coach Jay, going to be in the house with Ben McKee from Go Vols 247. He's going to come on for about 30 minutes. That'll be fun. Ben hates Alabama. Spoiler alert. He hates Alabama. Also, tomorrow, I'm going to be sitting down going one-on-one with J.D. Piquel from On3, breaking down this Tennessee-Alabama game. Probably going to post that Friday afternoon so you guys can tune in and check that out. He couldn't do a live stream this week, but he said, hey, man, I want to come on and pre-record something. We're going to do that tomorrow, drop it on Friday. Be on the lookout for that. Joe Brown for 2 says, not redshirting Nico feels like we're wasting a year. That guy's going to be off to the NFL. That's how special he is. We're not wasting anything, Joe. Don't you worry. Mac for $2 says, who controls what goes on the field? That would be Coach Josh Heupel. And when we have this conversation about quarterbacks, you got to trust Josh Heupel, right? And we've had the conversation all week long. Why can't Nico get on the field? If Joe's so bad and Nico's so good, why can't he get on the field? None of us have the answer. None of us have the answer for that. Andrew Garland for $2. Dauber, Alabama was in the Natty and still changed quarterbacks. Vader UT fan for $5.
But that's apples and oranges again.
Let's not go on a rant about Alabama's quarterback.
Apples and mangoes, dang it. Apples and mangoes.
But you're talking about a team that was chock full of 5 stars. You take one out, you put one in. Offensive side of the ball, defensive side of the ball. The line of scrimmage game that those Alabama teams had was just ridiculous. So that's not even a – you can't make that point. That's 2 different things.
Vader UT fan for $5. What if the receivers playing poor is them feeding off of Joe? The wide receiver fed off Hooker balling out last year. What if it's in their heads? Aiden Still's been a member for 6 months. Says Dauber seems to be giving the president credit for Congress's work. Okay. Just take that right across the face, Dauber. Turn the other cheek. Cody Copeland for $5. Think Joe is feeling the Nico pressure. Remember the knee tweak scare, and he came sprinting back out of the tent when we got the ball. Scared of Nico. Crystal for 2. About time Boogie got some energy. What are you talking about? I'm on here screaming in a microphone every time the red light comes on, Crystal. Every time the red light comes on, I start. Sometimes it's weird, man. Today I recorded Locked On Balls with Kaner, and he's like, he's rolling off all his radio tongue, and he's like, what do you think, Boogie? And I'm like, blah, 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 blah. I start screaming, and then it goes back to him, and he's like, so Tennessee's going to come up. And I'm like, man, this is – Dauber at least yells back at me, right? So we both have that. We both have that fire. This is something I want to bring up because it was on Pancakes and Bacon. We're gonna hit this, and then we're gonna get into Alabama and give our final predictions. But they brought up an interesting point, right? Everybody's saying you can't bench your quarterback when you're 5-1. I've said those same words. Dauber just said it. I've said it. Everybody said it. You don't bench your quarterback when you're 5-1. That's punting on the season, right? That's their words. That's what Reed and Kyler used. You're punting on the season. And I think it was Kyler maybe said, what if you're punting on the season by not playing Nico if he's the better option?
Punting to D. Williams.
It looks like you're quitting or giving up on the season if you make the switch, right? Because you're 5-1, you got everything to play for. What if not playing Nico? And I'll throw this to Coach Jay because he's got some stakes in the game. What if not playing Nico is punting on the season?
Yeah, I mean, you know my opinion. Dang it,
you're between a rock and a hard place. You can't win.
I know it's a tricky topic for me because I mean it when I say like I trust Heupel. You know what I mean? They're there day in and day out, and there's a lot more to a football team, you know, than just what meets the eye. Usually, there's locker room chemistry, there's culture and how that culture affects in the team, and how you how that regiment changes your chain of command and everything around it. And if Joe still has that locker room because he's 5-1, because he's still doing good, it makes it hard to make that decision even if you do believe it's right. So which could make that decision right to not play him. So it's complex, and I will always defer to Coach Heupel on a decision like that. He's just better equipped to make that kind of decision, certainly, than me, armchair quarterbacking over here. But I don't think the issue is talent. Nico being ready or anything like that. That's not what I understand it to be. That's not what I'm hearing and understand it to be in any way. Let's just put it that way.
X.
I mean, it's just like I just don't know, coach. Like, do you think it's just like the mental things, like I say with Milton? Like, do you think it's just like where he lost the starting job before, and because it's actually funny because I think I was having a conversation with somebody about it to where it was like, do you think Joe is just too scared? Well, for one, he's got all this pressure thanks to us, the fan base, because after Hidden Hooker spoiled us last season with that
Mm-hmm.
amazing, what I'm saying, 11-2 win series, and then see now you got this season with Joe that he's like, okay, he had all this pressure, all this hype build up, and see now it's like it's just the little mental mistakes that we're just like kind of a head scratching. Like, Joe, like, what are you doing, man?
I
Like, do you think just the pressure's just gotten to him at this point?
I don't know about the pressure necessarily. What I do think Joe struggles with is A, pre-snap and pre-snap communication, and then
Hmm.
B, when the play is not obvious. And I talked about Heupel having good plays on, and having good plays called against man, and good plays called against zone that work well against concepts. That's all fine when it's all cut and dry for Joe like that. But when he gets into trouble is when things are disguised well, when there's variations in the cover and he's got to make a read, or he's got to
Hmm.
make an adjustment on a route tree live, or just make a quick decision in general once the play has begun. Joe is slow, like slow. I know I've made a couple Joe political faux pas, and I will try not to do that, even though I want to. But Joe has just been slow. So, that's something he has to find a way to get it done. I like to use that expression with kids playing football when I coach them. Sometimes you just have to find a way to get it done, and Joe has not found a way to get it done for whatever reason. He's been slow in that, and come Saturday, he's got to find a way to get it done. And gosh knows I'm praying for him to do so. But I just think he's been slow, X, personally.
Would you say he looks sleepy?
Sleepy? No, just slow in general. There's just
He looks.
there's
Joe looks sleepy.
like, for
Like a little
instance,
sleepy Joe.
like, let me give you an example really quick. There wasn't a lot of quick, yeah, I got it, but there wasn't a lot of, like we talked about, that quick screenplay, right? We ran one out to Squirrel where he got kind of like caught on the arm. I don't know if y'all remember it, right? But
Hmm.
that play should have busted, right? That block was there early, and Joe took a long time to get that ball out. A long, long time. He
Hmm.
stared that down, and that's a bang bang bubble screen out there. That, to me, as soon as the inside wide receiver cross faced on his defender, you're no longer in danger of a pick. And that was just a slow in-game read on actually an obvious play in that one situation. And that's just one play in a bevy of plays, really. But I just thought I'd give a quick example so we could kind of start to
Well,
understand it.
well, that and then coach, like we've seen it at least either twice or three times. But listen, when you have a free play, man, like I said, throw the ball. Just throw the ball
Hmm.
downfield. It does not matter what happens. Like you're still gonna get it. It's like because I remember watching like during the A&M game to where like yeah, because like saying A&M's defensive line jumped off sides, and it was like Joe just kind of he reacted to it late. So it's like
Yeah.
he was kind of just he didn't know what to do, and I'm just like
Yeah.
Joe. Just throw it, man. Like
And,
even high school quarterbacks, high school player quarterbacks know that it's like, oh, okay, bet I got a free play. I'm gonna just chuck it downfield, see what happens.
yeah,
I just don't see why just Joe can't comprehend that.
it's weird and it's frustrating, and I get it. And it's tough, and um, man, it's tough. It's just he's made those bad reads. He had uh deep patterns
Hmm.
on that play too. So, like, the excuse that he didn't have a deep pattern on doesn't fly. He had deep patterns on there, and even on the PI calls, a good portion
Hmm.
of them, good handful of the PI calls, yeah, they were PI. They're 100% PI.
Yeah.
But if those footballs were catchable, you might have actually gotten those BI calls, I guess is my point.
Like the one Squirrel had.
And were they close enough to where you should have gotten the PI? 1,000,000%. I'm not trying to say they were like, 15 yards over, but you know what I mean? Like it would have been Ramel Keaton on some Michael Jordan business, times the Florida catch to get his hands on it, and the Nimrod ball as well in the corner of the end zone comes to mind as a tough ball to catch and probably too high. But if it's a little more on the money, you might have gotten that PI call. But who knows the way those referees were running around with their head up something.
Dauber's eyeballs are about to pop out of his head. I can tell
say
he can't
something,
wait.
Dauber.
Yeah, go ahead,
Blink
Dauber.
twice.
He's like, would X and J stop pitching to each other over and over and over?
No, I mean, listen. At the end of the day, I pulled up my text, and I can't show my text thread with Boogie from Saturday.
Bad idea, probably.
That's
That's our personal business, Dauber.
that's there might be some kids watching. So, but
Was it me or you? I got to pull it up now. I'm intrigued.
I think it was you mostly.
Was JP in that conversation as well?
No.
Dauber knows better than we don't. Look. Like, I'm gonna let Dauber talk. I'm gonna let you finish, but first, when we text, we don't include JP because that's a recipe for disaster. He includes us and drags us into the mud. Me and Dauber can have a civil conversation on Saturdays. JP can't. I'm sorry, Dauber. Go ahead.
So, listen, my thoughts tonight, and it seems to be me going back to defending Joe and his abilities on the field.
I just read what I
potential.
said.
Yeah.
I like it. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's because he is the starting quarterback right now. Mm-hmm. So you have to be behind your guy. And like Coach Jay said earlier, I trust Hype and the rest of this staff because they see these guys every day at practice. Mm-hmm. And if that's who they're trotting out there, I trust Hype more than I trusted Jeremy Pruitt and those guys trotting out JG. This is a completely different story than the whole JG's deal.
1,000,000%, Dauber.
Oh, yeah.
1,000,000%.
Saturday at 4:14, I said to Boogie, that is it. That did it for me. I'm out on Joe.
Yeah.
But that was reaction to one play.
But he did it again with the Ole Miss play, though. Remember last season?
You're talking another season. He is the starting quarterback right now. Get behind your guy or get on out.
We all support him, but he sucks.
Yeah, but Dauber, look. The last play, we were sitting there thinking like, okay, Joe, just throw it in the end zone, dude. Whether it gets picked or whatever, we win. He tucks it and runs out of bounds, just like with this last
awesome.
Play last season.
I love all these armchair quarterbacks sitting on their couch telling him what to do.
But listen, look.
Yeah, because he's a 6-year. No, he is Dauber. Dauber. He's a 6-year senior making sophomore mistakes. You got to be better.
And if you go down further in my text to you, I said, as much as I've backed him and touted his athletic ability and his potential, the decision-making is the deal breaker. And I think that's going back to the Florida game, going back to – and Coach Jay said it just a minute ago, his pre-snap stuff. And I think that with Cooper out there, that cleans a lot of that up. Because Cooper's coming to the line. He's making his blocking calls.
They look good. He looks really good.
It gives Joe no time to think and look at the defense. He just goes. When Joe has to think, that's when he gets in trouble. And
But Dauber, when you're 4th and 2 right there to get a first down,
no, I'm not disagreeing.
You got to go for it, man.
That was horrible. I said it earlier. I said he stepped out of bounds on 4th and 2 and then tried to run somebody over on 3rd and 7 when he was 5 yards away from the stick.
But here's the whole question, Dauber. Do you think Joe is leading this team to victory, or do you think they are winning in spite of poor quarterback play?
I think because he is at the quarterback position, he is leading the team. Not his play. Not his stats. You threw the stats out. The stats, he's lucky to be leading a team that's 5-1. He's lucky that he hasn't been replaced, because the rest of the talent on this team and the rest of the depth that Coach Heupel and staff has brought in from, recruiting, the transfer portal, everything else has caught up to, the rest of the SEC. I mean, it's
Put it this way. We did a poll. What was it? Was it Sunday night? We did a poll and asked the audience. And it really kind of, you know me, Dauber. Usually you and I are in alignment. We are as optimistic as they come. With the ship is sinking, and we're going, everything's fine. Everything's fine. So it's kind of funny that we're kind of on different sides on this. But we did a poll, and we asked the chat, who would be more successful under Josh Heupel, Jarrett Garantano or Joe Milton? And it was, what would it end up, like 52-48 Joe Milton?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was almost split down the middle. Wow. And Jarrett Garantano was the most hated quarterback in the history of Tennessee football. You know what we went through when Jarrett played here. And the messages we got from his family members saying, thank you for treating him like a human being. Like, that's where we're at with Joe. Like, I'm just fed up. The reason why I'm out, because he's a 6-year senior and he's still making the same stupid mistakes. And again, am I saying Benjamin playing Nico? I don't know. I don't know if that's what I'm saying or not. Like, it's a beautiful thing that we're 5-1. We are 5-1.
Good problem to have.
And have an opportunity to beat Alabama on Saturday, and we are complaining about Joe Milton's play. It is a beautiful thing. How many times, Dauber, since you've come on this show, do we come on here to talk Bama week, and it's like, well, there's no shot.
Yeah.
No shot. Yeah. No shot. And yet here we are, and I've got to hit Super Chats. Let me hit some Super Chats. I wanted to go right into predictions, but I want to talk about defense too. We're gonna stay live. We're not going anywhere. I don't care what you guys have to do. It doesn't matter. You guys are chained down to your chairs. Alex for 5, positive news. Small and Wright will be knocking on the door of top 10 all-time rushers for UT by the end of the season. If Prod keeps up, hashtag run the ball. Yeah, run the football. Don't worry about Joe. Just run the football. And I think that's the beautiful thing of this offense. The way it's spread out wide, it gives you the opportunity to do that. And they may try to make Joe throw, but it's not as easy as like a power running team. Let's see. Daniel for 5, with NIL changing everything, is Nico for sure leaving? Caleb Williams said he can make more staying his senior year. He also said he wanted stock in his NFL team. So Caleb Williams is a little delusional.
Like, is Nico leaving when? When is he saying, like, after this year? No,
I think he's saying, is he going to leave 3? Is he going to be 3 and done? Is what he's saying.
Oh,
because his NIL contract's 3 years is why that comes up.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's going to be a lot of money waiting for him in the NFL pretty soon.
For sure.
Yeah. I expect him to be a high draft pick, as does a certain coach. Go check out a video I dropped on Twitter if you want.
Yeah, go follow. You can see it right there at the bottom, at Coach_JP_123. I wanted to do those videos on the stream, but I don't know how that will work out copyright wise, so I can't show them. Really good information. Go follow Coach and check out both of the videos that he retweeted. I didn't see him until I was promoting the show. You got to tag me, Coach. You got to tag me.
I'm sorry.
If you
I didn't
want
think
people,
of it at the time.
No, if you want people to see something, tag the Talkin VAWLS account, and I'll retweet it. Like, look, I miss everything. All of you guys. If you want me to retweet something, always tag Talkin VAWLS, and I'll retweet it. Dave Morrison for 5. Saban is 103-9 at home. 3 in the first year, 6 games in 16 years. Our guys better eat their Wheaties. Dave, I think that's going to be a big factor in the game. Wayne for 5. Honestly think Joe has to make a few plays to win versus Bama, but I don't think he gets it done. Wayne, were you I know Wayne lives in the boom boom room. I think he must have been sleeping beside the Mortal Kombat cabinet when I did my predictions with Kaner. Spoiler alert. Sorry, but Bama 27, Vols. Were you sleeping?
Yeah, he's probably back there
Wayne.
now. Watch out, Boogie.
Hope I'm wrong. Go Big Orange. Daniel for 5 with NIL changing everything. We already read that one.
Yeah.
Ryan for $20. That's an Orange Boy. Appreciate those Orange Boys. Let's play the clip.
Rocky Top!
Ryan says 20 to the cause. Tennessee 28, Gumps 24. I appreciate that, Ron. This entire video is already demonetized, but you guys are making it worth my while to play that clip. Travis, an old Arkansas fan, for $5 says, Boogie, get rid of that amateur hour shirt. What's wrong with my shirt? What is wrong with my shirt? What's wrong with the AEW shirt? He says, and get down.
Tennessee shirts on.
It says,
Actually,
get down with Dobbert.
Dobbert.
Talking wardrobe. It's always talking wardrobe.
It is.
He has the best fan room for Tennessee football. Love the different helmets. But you know what? I'm busy creating content, and Dauber's busy creating a man cave. That's the difference. Somebody's on here creating content. Somebody's creating a man cave, Travis. I'll shut down the channel, stop making videos, and start creating – look at – who would not want to play in this man cave? Like, sure, Dauber's looks great. But you want to have a good time, you come to the Boom Boom room. No quarters needed. No quarters needed. You want to play – TMNT, you want to play Mortal Kombat, you want to play NBA Jam, you want to play Golden Tee, you want to have a good time? Come hang out with Boogie. You want to go look at pictures of me and Dauber's dumbasses at the Florida game? It's right there behind him. Go check it out. Dauber does have a great man cave, and I do love the mini helmets. I wish he would, he's got a great Talkin VAWLS sign, and I'm like, where's mine? Never happened. I've got to get on Amazon to buy my goofy helmets. He has all these beautiful helmets that he's customized. Where's mine? Nowhere to be seen.
I've got a video game system over here.
Yeah, I don't believe you.
There you go.
I don't believe you.
Mine's right over here.
VFL Willie, yeah. People are like, yeah, Boogie, that's great. You got this big, huge $600 NBA Jam cabinet. Have you ever seen an Xbox One? It'll blow your mind. For half the price, bro.
Just right there. Just right there.
VFL Willie for 2. Coach, have you noticed how ready Nico is to play?
Yes.
We talked it to death. Nate Bruin for 2. How bad does it have to get Saturday to see Nico? We're not seeing Nico on Saturday.
Joe has to get hurt.
Yeah, yep, I agree with that. Vol fan and AF for 10. How long will our D last if we have 4 3 and outs because they are stacking the box and Milton doesn't deliver? They won't. They won't last. They'll fold. The offense has to be clicking on Saturday to get a dub. Coach Rice for 5. Point blank, a 6-year quarterback can't be reading the field as poorly as he is. Play calling is without a doubt being affected because of it. Either way, GBO. Pecan for 5. Coach, can you touch on wrist playbook deal? I spoke on that. Hendon and receiving core used last year. Joe doesn't appear to. You talking about wristbands with the plays? They used that last year?
I think what he's referring to anyway, I've seen 1 or 2 things about this. So I think there was some kind of scheme to their wristband that would, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I will admit I'm not extremely read up on this, but I believe what they were doing is, certain plays based on what kind of wristbands certain wide receivers were wearing at certain times. You'll have to tell me if that's right.
I have not seen any of that.
But if that is right, and I am understanding that right, I mean, he can't see the correct play. How's he going to see a wristband? So I don't know.
Wait.
Dart.
Oh, I'm getting that Joe Milton dartboard. I'm getting it soon. I'm running out of time. I got to get that dartboard. Chris Brown for 2. We owe Burton a nice blindside shot for last year. Hey, I saw somebody say, hey, why don't we get some sorority girls out there at corner to guard Jermaine Burton?
He'd beat the hell out of him.
Yeah, he would. Yeah. Offensive PI every play, right? Offensive PI every play. Samuel Reiner, Custom Nice, been a member for 18 months. Appreciate that, brother. Too many Sleepy Joes. He's throwing golf balls and mustard bottles. Angry Titan for 2. What do y'all think about Merklinger? I'm afraid that Merklinger is going to be Taven Jackson. He's coming in sandwiched between George McIntyre and Nico. He's going to be Taven Jackson. If, hopefully, we land George McIntyre. But I think Tennessee ultimately lands him.
Yeah, I think we get him too, but it's a tough spot to be in.
It is.
I was sad to see Taven go.
So was I.
Did you see what he did on Saturday, Dauber?
Played horrible.
He was bad.
Yeah, he was bad.
I mean, I get it, but
I know. I liked him too, for the record, but yeah.
That's the type of player that you're never going to be able to keep, right? That middle quarterback.
Yeah.
They're always going to transfer. And just, I truly think.
And he could come along and be good next year, too. Like, one game doesn't define you.
Yeah. With Taven, yeah.
Yeah.
I like Jake Merklinger.
It was Michigan or something, right? So
I like that Jake Merklinger's like, Nico, I don't care. I'm coming to Tennessee to compete. I love that. I love that fire. We'll see how it ultimately plays out. You know, man, how about Madden too? Austin Price mentioning Madden Iamaliava in that same recruiting video about George McIntyre. Madden, like, you know, Coach, we talked about it in the George McIntyre Deuce Knight film breakdown. Like, where does Madden fit into all that? Now I think you're going to try to get George and Madden both in this class of 25.
He's, you know, when you see Madden live, he's like a carbon dang copy of Nico. Now, when I saw him, you know, he was like a freshman and he stepped in mop up duty on a homecoming game. And he, you know, he just didn't have the command, right, that Nico had and of the offense. But he looked like a carbon copy of him physically and mechanically.
Let's get into our predictions. I wanted to talk a little bit about defense. Maybe we'll save that for Friday morning. Myself, Coach Jay, and Ben McKee's going to be in the house. Make sure you guys tune in to that. Probably drop the J.D. Piquel video Friday afternoon. Saturday morning, an hour before kickoff, we will be live for the fan call-in show. That's where you, the members, you got to be a member of the channel. We got 450 people watching live. If you don't have a Power T beside your name, are you really a Talkin Vols fan? Hit the join button down below. $1. That's all we are asking is $1. If you love this channel, you love the content, you love Dauber but hate me, you love Coach Jay but hate the X Factor, that's fine. Hit the join button down below. We would appreciate the support. Also, go check out our merchandise. What better time to pick up Buck Fama merchandise than right now? Go to bonfire.com/store/Talkin Balls. We got these clean letter shirts. This is one of my favorite designs we've ever done. Go check it out. Also, cult member shirts, because we're not a family, we are a cult. You can get this right now and get ready. Georgia's coming to Neyland Stadium. What better shirt to wear than FUGA? Go check it out. Different colors, styles, designs, all that. Buck Fama, Beat Bama, whatever you want. We got the Bama scoreboard shirts there as well. It's all there. Bonfire.com/store/Talkin Balls. We appreciate all the support, the members, the people that pick up merchandise. If you just watch the videos, man, everybody that tunes in to watch this channel, that's what gives me the opportunity to jump on here. You know, the Friday morning shows, the Monday morning shows, I know you guys dig those. It is basically a thank you to you guys. That's why I do those morning streams. They don't pull the audience like a Wednesday night show does, but it's fun, man. I love getting on Talking Ball with Kaner. I love, man, me and Coach Jay having a blast on Friday mornings. I love these Wednesday. Everything is a different dynamic. That's what I love. All the different people, all the community. It's a beautiful thing. Dan Wright becomes a member of the channel. Appreciate that, Dan. Thank you for the support. Keep those memberships coming. Show Dan what he's won. Put those custom Talking Balls emojis in the chat. Let's jump into predictions. Me and Coach will talk some defense on Friday morning with Ben McKee. Let's get into our predictions. It is a very, very, very interesting matchup on paper. I've said it all week long. I've said it on Locked On Balls. I've said it right here on the Monday morning stream. I've said it on videos. I'm going to go ahead and say it again. When you look at it on paper, offensively, points per game, Alabama 30.1, Tennessee 32.3. Defensively, Alabama giving up 16 points a game, Tennessee giving up 17 points a game. Passing offense, Alabama 219 through the air, Tennessee 212. 7 yards difference, man. 7 yards difference, passing yards per game. You look at the defensive side of the ball. Passing defense, Alabama 187, Tennessee 197. That's 10 yards difference. Rushing defense, dead on. 105 yards per game, both teams. The one advantage for Tennessee is rushing the football. They lead the SEC in rushing offense, 231 yards, Alabama 148. On paper, man, both of these teams heavily penalized. Alabama, 97th with 6.86 penalties per game. Tennessee, 119th. You're going on the road against Alabama. You better clean that up. 8 penalties per game. On paper, man, I look at the way this thing lays out. Everything tells me to pick Tennessee. Dauber, I'm putting you on the spot first. I've already made my pick with Kaner. I can't change it. I cannot change my pick. So I'm putting you on the spot first. Give me your keys to the game. How does this thing play out?
Consistency is the key to the game. Consistency. You gotta keep bringing the heat with the defense. You got to get after Milroe. I don't have faith that Milroe can replicate his game through the air that he had against A&M a couple weeks ago, where he just carved them up, threw it all over the field, even with Tennessee's secondary and issues back there. I think James Pierce, I think Tyler Barron, Omar Norman Lott, I think these guys can get after it and cause some problems. Consistency. Again, you got to have consistency on the offensive side of the ball. Not just from your quarterback. You got to have the receivers helping your quarterback out by catching the balls that are catchable, because there have been a lot of those dropped. I know I've rode hard, backing our quarterback right now.
Oh, now he's going to turn on him.
No. Listen, no, I turned Saturday at 4:15, and I texted you and I said I'm done. I'm out on Joe. But he is still the starting quarterback, and I'm still gonna. If he's wearing orange Saturday or white, because they're on the road, they're gonna be wearing white with the orange. I'm pulling for my guy. I hope that he does better than he's played. I hope he is consistent and plays to his potential. I've got this being a close game, a tight game. I may have my orange glasses on, but I've got Tennessee winning 24-20.
That's hilarious. I'll tell you why it's hilarious in just a second. Don't worry. Let me hit some super chats real quick. Well, Parker, Rocky Top Customs, been a member for a month. Appreciate that support, brother. New to Tennessee, but I'm all in on the Vols. GBO, love to hear it. Nate Pruitt for $2 says, I'm saying if it's close, Tennessee 23, Inbreds 21, close to Dauber's pick. Timbo becomes a member of the channel. Appreciate that, Timbo. Thank you for the support. Guys, keep those memberships rolling in, man. $1. That's all we're asking. We got 431 people. If you're not a member, become a member. Hit that join button. Coach Rice for $2 says Tennessee 27, Bama 24, partying all night long during the postgame. That's what we'll do, man. If Tennessee pulls this thing off, that's what we'll do. X, what do you got, man? What's your prediction for this game?
All right. So when it comes to me with Alabama and Tennessee going down to Tuscaloosa, you just can't go down there having the mindset to get beat. It's like what we all been saying. The defense is the identity of this team, or is the firepower of this team. I think the defense is going to give Alabama a game. I really think they are. I think that, like Dauber said, you got to get after Milroe. He does kind of scare me a little bit with his feet, but the way that our defense is getting after him, I have no worries about that. So I feel like that we'll do good in that department. Now switching to the offensive side of the ball, it's like what I said at the beginning of the show. Mr. Milton, this is will be the defined moment of your career at Tennessee. And we just want you to be better. Listen, I know that we've all rode hard on him and said this, said that. But like what Dauber said, at the end of the day, he does wear the orange and white. And he's the starting quarterback. And we all love him. And we all hope and strive and hope that he has the success that he needs. It's just the little minor mistakes that he's got to clean up. But not also him. Also on the offensive line and everything. Like you said, Boogie, penalties. Got to clean that up, because if not, you're going to get beat down in Tuscaloosa. Just other just little things. And then switching over to, the wide receivers. Like I said earlier, too, you guys got to step up, man. Like I said, look, Dante Thornton, sir, it's time for you to step up. Ramel Keaton, you were a veteran on this team. You got to step up. Squirrel will be fine. Chaz Nimrod, he's trying to get his footing in a little bit, so I'll kind of let him slide a little bit. But so I got this game pretty tight. I got Tennessee 30, Alabama 24. And like I said, I bleed orange to the day I die. I have a little glimmer of hope for this team that I think will go down and beat Alabama at home. Because like I said earlier, I think this would really solidify Joe's legacy and how we're going to look at Joe going forward for the rest of this season.
Pecan been a member for a year. Says I give you guys too much money. Is there such a thing as too much money, Pecan? You're the man. Keep it coming. We love you, Pecan. We love you, brother. All right, Coach. What do you got?
Yeah. I was kind of prepping my thoughts for it when I got the bat signal, but I got them. I got enough down. As a coach, sometimes I feel like there's always so many different ways, a game can be played, right? Like almost like the infinity of the end of the Infinity Gauntlet series, where your Doctor Strange is imagining all the different endings.
Is that what you do every night?
That. I feel like it is. Sometimes I feel like it is. So, I go back and forth, but I think Tennessee needs to attack the middle of the field. I think Alabama is more susceptible to passes in the middle of the field. I do still think we need to stretch them out to run straight at them. I think you will see it much like you did against Alabama. I expect Alabama to be a little further along defensively and be able to disguise everything a little better. So Coach Hype's and Coach Halsey's going to have to be on his P's and Q's. But I think they'll do that. They do that very consistently. I think this coaching staff really needs to challenge this team after what we saw in Florida. I do. I think they need to ask each and every one of them to look inside themselves, and it's not just coach speak, and bite down in this game, because this is going to be a revenge game for Alabama. This is going to be a game where Alabama brings it. This is going to be a game where Alabama's fans bring it. Everyone remembers that last game. Everyone remembers the goalpost going down. They're going to want this, and they're going to go out there wanting to land big, heavyweight punches. We need to bite down on that mouthpiece and punch back every bit as hard. This defensive line needs to bring it. They need to be fast, quick, aggressive. They need to maintain gap integrity and play with a lot of heart, play hard for each other. The secondary needs to bite down as well and not give up the big play. Milroe is going to test us deep. Saban is going to test us deep to try to loosen up this defense. If we answer that bell early and we can shut down this Alabama offense early in the first half, they will get desperate. They will start eating each other. And when they start eating each other, that's when we can really go after them and put it on them. And if we do that, I think the game can get away from Alabama a little bit. I've got the Vols 34, Alabama 14.
34-14.
I'll have some of that, Coach.
And Bama loses their ranking.
Give me some of that barbecue chicken, like Shaq said.
And it's Coach Jay, so you know who said it, Bama fans.
I should have let Coach Jay go last. Zachary for $2 says Tennessee wins 52-3. What is he drinking? I thought Coach Jay was drinking
Orange
too much.
Kool-Aid. It's all gone. It's all gone.
No, Coach Heupel was drinking purple Kool-Aid. Coach Jay's drinking orange Kool-Aid. I think Zachary's drinking straight gasoline. 52-3, he says. Timothy S. becomes a member of the channel. Appreciate that support, brother. Look, I can't back out on my pick. I can't back out on it. I told Cannon, he's like, dude, you don't have to do a pick if you don't want. I was like, nope, hold me to it. Make me do a prediction. That's going to be up on Friday, but spoiler alert, this is what I had to say. So many things to look at in this game. I told you guys, man, I've broken this thing down for the last 3 days on paper over and over and over. I've looked at every single stat imaginable. That is what I do. While everybody else is at work, I'm sitting here in front of this stupid computer looking at nonsense stats. Third down conversions, red zone efficiency, sacks per game. I look at everything I can possibly think of for this game. All the numbers align. Everything is so even in this matchup. And if it was in Neyland Stadium, I'm 100% going probably Tennessee by 10-14. Two-score game. I think Tennessee matches up that well with Alabama. But when you look at the grand scheme of things, and what I said at the top of the show, Tennessee's looking for their first back-to-back wins against Alabama since 2004. Alabama has not lost outside of the Texas game earlier this year. That was an anomaly. You got to go back to 2019. Tennessee lost 27 straight games against AP top 15 opponents on the road. And I get it. Like sometimes people say this stuff in the comments or in the chat. And I'm like, I I don't care. I don't care what happened prior to Josh Heupel. All that matters is what has happened under Josh Heupel, right? What does this team look like this year? That's what matters to me defensively. Tennessee, right up there at the top of the country, 4th in the country in sacks, 24 sacks, 4 sacks a game. You look at the flip side of that. Coach Jay told me, man, off air, and I've said it on air 75 times because it was so important. Coach told me, when you watch that Texas A&M Alabama game, look at the left tackle, look at the left tackle, look at the left tackle, look at the left tackle. He beat it into my head. Boogie, when you watch that game, look at the left tackle. Guess what? He's a true freaking freshman. He is a true freshman. Yes.
I didn't know that.
You know what his job is on Saturday?
James Pierce.
His job is to block James Pierce. Alabama's given up 31 sacks. They are terrible protecting the quarterback. They are 126th in the country, 126 out of 133, 4.5 sacks a game. That's what they're giving up. Freshman Caden Proctor is going to try to block James Pierce. But again, this Tennessee football team has been terrible on the road. You got to go all the way back to LSU at the beginning of last year. They lost at Florida this year. They lost on the road against Georgia. They lost on the road against South Carolina to end the year. I think Bryant-Denny Stadium is going to make a difference. I think because you look at the South Carolina game from last year, right? We all had it circled on the calendar. We could not wait. And maybe the players are supposed to block out the noise. Maybe the coaches are supposed to block out the noise. You know who doesn't? Fans. And those Alabama fans are going to be full of piss and vinegar on Saturday night. And I think this football game is going to come down to which quarterback makes a play. Jalen Milroe has shown to be efficient in making plays down the field. Joe Milton has not. That's the determining factor. Alabama 24, Tennessee 21. Go ahead and hate on me. Go ahead and spit the piss and vinegar at me. I'm a grown-ass man. I'll take it. I just don't think Tennessee wins this game on the road. I've said it time and time again. I'm going to give my opinion. I'm going to speak from the head and not the heart. It is what it is. I want nothing more than Tennessee to go down there and win. I think the picture-perfect scenario is Joe Milton goes down there and puts the haters to bed, and he goes throws for 350 and 4 touchdowns. And guess who's going to be sitting here smoking a cigar celebrating on Saturday night? All of us. That's what we're going to do because I want Tennessee to win. But if I'm picking with my head, I'm going Alabama wins a close one, 24-21. Let the hate begin. Real Hank for 2 says, I keep getting the thought that Joe shows up Saturday. Hank, I hope you're right. You're right.
Just real quick, like I said, I think it's what it is like, especially for me. And we can all be real. When this game came up in the schedule, we were like, man, it's going to be either a toss-up or an L. Because, like I said, you lose Hendon Hooker. You lose Jalen Hyatt. That were your 2 MVP players from last season. Now we've seen what this team is like this year, and it goes back even to the Florida game. I feel like if we were to go back into that game and win at Florida, my confidence would shoot up just a tad little bit going down Tuscaloosa, looking like, oh, you know, I feel maybe about 60, maybe 70% confident. But from what we've seen, like you said, but looking at the past road games leading up to now and what we've been seeing out of Joe Milton in the offense, it leaves doubt. I'm sorry.
Little would surprise us at this point.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Little outcome would surprise us. And that's what I meant about the possible outcomes. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like that this year. I don't know.
If it was in Neyland Stadium, I'm going Vols by at least 10. I think the road, the home field advantage is playing such a factor into college football this season. I just think it's too much to overcome. I hope I'm wrong, man. I hope I'm right here celebrating like we were a year ago, but that's just that's the vibe I get about this game. I've said over and over and over again, I'm never going to come on here and lie to you guys. I'm going to give you my honest opinion, right, wrong, indifferent. I don't care. I'm going to stay true to what I believe, and I broke down this game to exhaustion, man. It's only Wednesday, and I've looked at this game from every angle possible. That's where I'm at. I hope I'm wrong. I hope Tennessee rolls Alabama, and we're going to be right here celebrating. Don't forget, Friday, I'll probably drop a video tomorrow, Friday morning. Myself, Coach Jay, Ben McKee going to be in the house at 9:30 a.m. Ben's going to be here for about 30 minutes. Then me and Coach Jay will wrap up the show. Saturday, we're going to do a tailgate show an hour before. You guys, the members of the channel, if you're not a member, fix that. Hit the join button down below. You can become a member for $1. The more you give, the quicker you get on those fan call-in shows. We'll be live immediately following the game as well. Sunday night, 7 p.m. Eastern time, every Sunday night, fan call-in show. You guys get an opportunity to come on the show. Man, third Saturday in October, it is a big one. 5-1. We are 5-1, and we spent 55 minutes arguing about things that aren't going right. It is a beautiful thing. Tennessee is back. Tennessee football matters. Tennessee football means something. That is the beautiful thing about it all. Real Hank drops another $2, says, what if Nico trots out there after one drive from Joe?
It would confuse the living crap right out of Bama. It'd be brilliant.
That's how we're going to wrap this thing up. For Coach Jay, for Dauber, for the X Factor, my name is Boogie Bentley. This is the Talkin VAWLS Network. Go Big Orange.
Rolling down a backwoods Tennessee byway, one arm on the wheel, holding my lover with the other, a sweet, soft southern thrill. Worked hard all week, got a little jingle on a Tennessee Saturday night. Couldn't feel better, I'm together with my Dixieland delight. Spend my dollar, park in a holler neath the mountain moonlight. Hold her up tight, make a little loving, a little turn it oven on a Mason-Dixon night. It's my life. Oh, so right, my Dixieland delight. Whitetail buck deer munching on clover, red-tailed hawk sitting on a limb, chubby old groundhog, croaking bullfrog, free as a bee